very happy and excited to have with us today Jay DuSold. That's right. Am I saying it right?
Perfect. Yes.
Excellent. Who is a teen career guide. I think we are all going to benefit from this. So hi, Jay. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Rotem. Thank you for the opportunity to connect today and hang out with your audience. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Love being here.
Thank you for saying my name correctly.
I was practicing.
And can you just tell us a little bit about what you're doing, and later on we're going to dive into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah, sure. So basically what I do is I help teenagers actually identify careers that match how they're wired for work, so they can identify a really good fit early on and not waste time, money, or effort guessing and then getting it wrong. So I focus on helping teens find career fits.
Yeah, I think a lot of us parents and grandparents in the group can identify with what you're describing about changing careers and trying to figure out what we want. So that sounds really, really interesting. How did you get to do that? Like, what brought you to choose this path?
Yeah, actually, it was trying to help my oldest son, Justin. He's now 24, but back in 2014, he was a junior in high school. And like most parents who have a kid that age, they're starting to feel the pressure for having that after graduation plan in place. And we were no different. We were feeling that pressure. And my wife and I started like wondering, how do we know how to help him? Like, we don't want him to choose something that he'll wind up, disliking, or he'll stop midway into a college degree if we pursue that route. Like, how do you know how to guide your kid for matters of, their post-graduation plan? And so I started researching, solutions. I really didn't find anything that I felt comfortable with, especially if we were trying to make an expensive decision. I didn't like that all I was finding were some quizzes or tests that relied on his own opinions of himself. And I just didn't feel comfortable. So I remembered about a very unique assessment tool that I found back in the 90s. I had bumped into it in some leadership training. It was used in more like corporate and executive arenas. And I saw that the value it had and what it could help a person discover would be the exact things a teenager needed to discover about themselves in order to actually find a fit. And so I hunted down the guy who created it and had a conversation with him. And I shared my vision to take his tool to young people. And he was very supportive of that. And I became licensed and trained, and then built a whole journey and program around that unique tool and the results that come. And so, yeah, it was helping my own son. And that led me to see that this was a huge problem in the world. I left a 25-year career, and I said, I want to take what I discovered and what I've built to help my own son. I want to help other young people now with that same process. And I've been doing that since 2014.
I love that you're saying that, because a few of the experts that I've been interviewing here in the past year actually started their journeys helping their children or trying to support their family, like Karine, who was talking about ADHD, and more people. And I think when we approach something through our own personal experience, it can be very interesting, because it also makes us very passionate about it, right?
Absolutely.
So when we were talking, I realized how unique your program is. Can you explain what is so unique about it?
Yeah, sure. I think there are two things that make it really unique. One is the assessment tool that I just referenced. Most of the tools that exist that are designed to help young people, they actually tend to make things worse. And here's why. Because the tool, the assessment, is based on asking questions. And the young person is expected to accurately self-reflect and then answer the questions in a way that reflects who they are. The problem is that most young people really don't know who they are. And when the questions are being asked, they usually don't answer based on their real self. They answer based on what they think they should be or what they envision themselves being. And so a lot of times the data that they're putting into the tool isn't really accurate. Another big concern is that usually a lot of tests that are out there, they only measure or they only try to discover how a person is wired with abilities, certain aptitudes. So what makes what I do very unique is two things related to those issues. Number one is the tool I use is not based on questions. It actually analyzes a teen's repeated pattern behavior, and it can find how they're wired in certain key areas that are just as important as aptitudes, right? So it uses their own behavior to come to the conclusions. They don't have to give their opinions. It's who they actually are, because it's what we find is repeated over and over again. It's consistent. And the things that we find about the young person are more than just the things they're good at, because that's only a small fraction of what really needs to be matched up with a job in order to ensure it will be successful and motivating and fulfilling. So the tool of analyzing behavior and then also what we find is more holistic, so we can really ensure that we can find a fit for the young person.
Okay, so my audience that already heard about my method, the balance method, and knows me a little bit, now you guys can probably understand why I invited Jay here, because you know that I'm obsessed with patterns and behavior, and how behavior actually gives us more clues and really helps us change things rather than trying to change our thoughts or to make decisions based simply on our thoughts that are so influenced by what other people thinks about us and tells us that we are, especially if we're teenagers.
Yes.
So so I really love the idea of it being holistic and not just, you know, like bandages on specific things, specific symptoms. Can you give me a few, maybe one to two, up to two, three tips for parents who are dealing with this stage? Me, for example, my son is 17. So I'm sure, yeah, me and other parents on the group, grandparents, and the young people, some like simple tips that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So the one tip would be more like a mindset. And so I would really encourage and challenge, whether you're a parent or a young person tuning in, I would really encourage you to think about the whole idea of finding careers that will fit you as an exercise in understanding who you are on the inside, and not just for aptitudes or abilities. There are other things that are part of your unique wiring that really need to fit and that you need to consider when you're trying to find fits. So that would be number one tip, would be begin to have a mindset that it's within you, the guidance is within you, and it needs to be more than just the things you're good at. That's only a small piece that needs to fit. So that's number one tip as far as mindset. A really cool strategy tip, something that you could actually take action on, is to, let's say that you have a career of interest in mind, a career position. I would encourage you to make sure that you really know what that job is about before you make any type of decision to invest time, money, or effort pursuing it. So let me give you a few things that you should absolutely discover about that career of interest before you make any kind of decision to pursue it. Number one is the salary range in the place that you intend to do that job. What is the salary range? Number two, what is the projected growth for that position? Is it projected to grow or is it projected to shrink? Number three, what are all the required duties in that position? And number four, what are the main subjects that you're going to be regularly working with in that job? And then fifthly, what is the environment like in which that work will get done? Those are the 4 or 5 most important things that you can find out about a career position. And how do you do that? You can do 3 simple online research strategies. You don't even have to leave your house. You could do all this in 10 minutes. So career info sites. There are informational sites, and they exist just to give tons of information about career positions. A second strategy for research would be job posting sites. All right, these are places that actually have real jobs that are being posted. And that is a great way to learn these 5 things, because the employers that are looking for employees are going to boil it down and put those things out there for a potential employee to read and consider. And then the third thing is just to do simple Google searches. So take each one of those 5 elements and turn it into a Google search. So you'd say key responsibilities. Let's say if you were researching a veterinarian position, key responsibilities for a veterinarian, and you can find that out. You could type in average salary for a veterinarian living in, and you fill in the blank where the location would be. So you could take each one of those 5 things and just turn it into a Google search, and you will have tons of information to help you really grasp those 5 essential facts about any career position.
That's so much in such a, you gave us so much work to do in such a short time. I really appreciate it, and we're definitely going to do it with our son. And I just want to let the audience know that Jay's website is super informative. Like, if you just scroll through the website, you can find answers almost to everything. And one thing that you told me that I really liked is that after you do the assessment, you actually coach the kids through the process. And it sounds really good.
Yeah. A lot of times, I heard a quote years ago that I really appreciate. It said, the young people today, teenagers, they don't need a sage from the stage. They need a guide on the side. And I love that. That has really struck me and stuck with me. Young people don't need more information, right? They have access to tons of information. What they need is someone who's trustworthy, who has their best interest in mind, who can actually help them to walk on their side and be in the journey with them, helping them every step of the way. So once we finish the assessment, we get the results and we go to find fits. Every step of the way is a relationship with the young person, with my clients, all one-on-one coaching. They get individualized attention so that we can really ensure that they go down that path well, and they have help as much as they need every step of the way.
That's awesome. I took a lot from that, and I think we're gonna talk about more stuff in a different interview. This one is very specific because I got a lot of requests for this specific topic. But just if you don't mind, before we finish, would you share your life motto with us?
Yes, absolutely. So my life motto, and really kind of spills into my coaching, is don't settle for anything less than your full potential. That's been a message from my life for many years. I've worked with young people for over 25 years in all different capacities. But my motto for my own life, and for those that I get to influence, is never settle for anything less than your full potential. That means it's not someone else's full potential. We can easily get into the comparison trap and be looking at other people and like what their success path is. But you have to stay focused on your success path, because the more time you take looking at someone else's success path, you're robbing the energy from your own. So never settle for anything than your full potential, and that's unique to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. I really appreciate your being with us, giving us all these tips. And we're going to continue in another time to go deeper into patterns and holistic approach for coaching. But for now, thank you again for being here. We all really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you
And,
so much. It was a pleasure to be here with everyone today.
and everybody, remember to look in the comments to get all of Jay's information so you can ask questions and figure out your kid's path or your own path if you need that support. Thank you.